So Horizon West is one of the fastest growing communities in the entire United States, but there is a side of living here that most buyers don't even see until they actually move here. But if you're thinking about moving to the Horizon West area, there's just a few things that you might want to know before you buy here, because choosing the wrong part of this area can actually affect your commute, your lifestyle, and most importantly, your long-term property value. And this is going to be something that you will thank me for down the road, because we all know history repeats itself, so stay with me. Horizon West checks a lot of boxes for those that are moving here, especially in the last few years. In fact, the population has grown over 25% since 2022, and for good reason. You've got newer homes, the community's clean, it feels very organized and well planned. So for people that are relocating here, the area ends up just being really high on their list. But there's also things that you may not see because they're not obvious until you actually move here. If you're planning a move here and even just trying to narrow down the right area, you can always reach out to me. I help people navigate these areas every day, and especially if you're relocating from out of state and you aren't familiar with how these areas really function. So just feel free to reach out. But one of the things you may not notice about Horizon West is just how it's structured. So when you look at a map, it appears very close to everything. You see Disney, and then you can see like the State Road 429, but what the map doesn't show is just how much internal driving there is to do here. The number one complaint is getting in and out. This area is made up of multiple villages, and depending on which one you live in, it may just take a little bit just to get out to a main road. However, it was designed intentionally to be this way. It was never really meant to feel like a typical suburb where everything is right off a major highway. Instead, it was planned using like a village model where neighborhoods are set back from the main traffic corridors. And you'll notice most homes aren't sitting directly on busy roads. They're tucked back inside their own little village with their lakes and conservation and internal roads separating them from the heavier traffic. And for a lot of people, I mean, it's a great thing. It makes the communities feel quieter, more residential, just less congested compared to areas where traffic is constantly running through the neighborhoods. But at the same time, this is something some relocation buyers don't fully account for, and especially if you commute every day for work. So just know that it could take 10 to 15 minutes just to get out of the community and into the main roads like the 429. The area was actually designed to prioritize the neighborhood, so they kind of wanted the traffic flow second. And when I say traffic flow, this is an understatement, which I will cover in a little bit. But if you're retired, you work from home, or even Disney or anywhere on the west side of Orlando, then you may love this negative that people actually feel, but usually they work on the east side of Orlando. And this is also where choosing the right location within Horizon West matters more than what people initially realize, because two neighborhoods here can function very differently depending on where you sit within the overall layout. And another thing people notice after moving here is how new it all feels. It could be good, it could be bad, but you have the newer homes, the layouts are more open, more windows that give you more of the natural light, the ceilings are higher, everything reflects how homes are being built today, but there is a trade-off. Nothing's really fully matured. The trees are still young, the landscaping is still developing, and that affects the overall feel of the community. But if you drive through like older areas like downtown Winter Garden, Windermere, those areas feel completely different because they've had decades to grow. But most of Horizon West is still in that early stage. So, however, if you prefer the more established areas, then there are a couple of villages, that we could actually look at. So, but it'll all mature over time. It may take years, but it'll happen. It won't be months. It may seem silly to some, but there's really been extensive research on how mature landscape affects stress levels, your mood, and just overall comfort. Another reality of living here, and you may hate it, is the ongoing development. So even if your neighborhood is complete, the surrounding area may still be going under construction. There's still new communities to come. In fact, there's over 3,000 homes that are still left to be built. Plus, we have commercial things coming like Home Depot, Lowe's, and just other retail projects. But The advantage is everything keeps improving, but it also means the area doesn't feel fully finished yet. So it's still evolving, and you may have to deal with the construction, traffic, dirt, and noise. So if construction all around you kind of stresses you out, you may not want to choose Horizon West, or be mindful of the village that you do pick. And then there's just two more things that you may not like about living here. One is the HOA and the CDD structure. Now, most communities here have one, the other, or sometimes both. But the HOA will handle neighborhood maintenance and the amenities, and the CDD is tied to more of the infrastructure that made the community possible. So this is something that I make sure buyers understand clearly, because the home itself is only part of the picture. When you choose to live in a newer master planned area like this, you usually have the HOA and CDD. But the homeowners associations are just to keep everything looking nice and to help with the amenities. Some areas just cost more than others. The HOA's like a love-hate. You love it because it keeps it nice, but you hate being told what you can and can't do with your property. The CDD is just a little bit different, and not all places actually have CDDs, but this does impact your budget. So just make sure you know this up front. It's very rare to find a CDD fee in established communities. And then the last negative before I tell you about the home value is the overall character of Horizon West. It doesn't have that historic feel like you find at downtown Winter Garden, Winter Park, or downtown Orlando, and others prefer areas that feel more established with character. But not long ago, it was just acres and acres of orange groves, which was wiped out by several hard freezes, and then someone took pen and paper and planned every detail. Where the walking trails went, each new school, and the commercial space. All this growth happened quickly, and one of the downsides was traffic, especially during work hours and school times. So they are working on the infrastructure. There are a few communities that feel like they're really far out right now, but once all this is complete, it would be minutes from Hamlin and all the daily conveniences. When this improves, the demand's going to follow. You've seen it happen in the earlier parts of Horizon West. The area once felt really far away and it was affordable. Once everything came together, the prices shot up and everybody's looking to move here. So there's a place called Parkside Trail. It's just directly west of Hamlin. And I could see that happening in this community, along with a couple of other areas over there, because they're connecting the east and the west. So getting from Lake County to Orange County is going to be very easy. So I do anticipate these prices of these properties going up in this area. If you found value in this video, please hit the thumbs up. Sometimes it just helps others find my video. But until next time, take care.